Whoever requested for this tier list video, I hope that in your next battleground, you get ganged up by 2 blade masters and a soul dancer. Why? I'm getting asked by you guys to make a tier list video for all classes in Dragon Raja, and to be honest, I've been procrastinating this as much as I can just because I hate tier lists. I know, right? I'm a YouTuber that hates tier lists. My reason is most tier lists are just inaccurate and they're just made to get views and stuff, and also people don't think of the future sometimes when making tier list videos, and most YouTubers use whale mindset while making tier list videos because most YouTubers are whale, so it doesn't really apply to most of the player bases. Anyway, that being said, I have buckled up and decided to make this video, and I have some rules that we have to take note of before we get into this tier list video. These rules will help us in making this list and in understanding why I made certain choices. So the first rule we got to talk about is, in this tier list, we will not assume or think like whales, okay? Everyone is the same rating and everyone is free to play. That's the first thing. Because I am not a whale, so I don't really know how it is for you guys. Next, to try to look at this as objectively as possible. Don't say a skilled blade master will defeat a skilled sorcerer. So we are not doing that because everyone is skilled in various things, and there are some players that are not really skilled with any class. So yeah, this tier list will take into account the stats of the classes, the deep talents of the classes that can counter each other and stuff. That is what this tier list will take into account. Thirdly, I won't cover every single event in the game because there's a lot of events in Dragon Raja and we have 12 freaking classes right now. This video will go too long if I try to do that. Finally, this tier list was made on January 2023. I gotta make sure you guys know the date. Currently, there are only 12 classes in this game. The new class, whatever its name is called, hasn't been released yet, so this isn't taking into account that, okay? Alright, we're here in my tier maker. I took my time to try to get some pictures of all 12 classes. It's not that big, but I hope you guys can see it. If it isn't, I'll try zooming in into the screen a lot more. So first, we'll talk about the PvE. Remember, this is 1v1 PvE and group PvE. Now, you see I have S, A, B, C, and D right here on my tier list. These are, well, not usable, trash, whatever you want to call it. I'll just start off by saying that no single character will be trash throughout this video, so you guys should know that every character is kind of good to their own extent. So D will not be used at all in this video, and I'm going to try and talk about this in the way they were released. You can see I've already arranged it properly, so that's how we just place this. Alright, so first we have the Blade Master for singles and group PvE. The Blade Master goes all the way right here. I want to apologize if this tier list will upset anyone. Please don't take it too hard. This is looking at things logically. The Blade Master is tanky, yes, but it gave up most of its damage for that. Also, remember, we are not taking into account whales. You don't have any healing, you only have damage reduction, and you traded off most of your damage for damage reduction. So you're not dealing more damage and you are not taking more damage. It's going to be an excruciating experience to try and solo most dungeons your level as a Blade Master. Also, for group events, group PvE, the Blade Master is tanky, yes, and it can draw aggro, but you are missing out on most damage, and most free plays can't really tank as much as whales. So instead of you being a Blade Master, I think there are many other classes that can do a lot better tanking job, also can do a lot more damage as well. Next, we have the Gunslinger. The Gunslinger goes all the way to A tier. It has quite a lot of damage. It would have been S tier or just on its damage alone, but the problem is it doesn't really have any survivability, and its damage, I don't know if it's been nerfed, but it doesn't compare to most of the other classes currently in the game. So the Gunslinger is high A tier. Next, you have your Assassin, definitely an S tier in PvE. For single PvE and group PvE, it can buff the damage the team deals to monsters thanks to its Hunt mark. It has the Crystal Sonata skill that can just group up monsters together, and it has high damage. It has high survivability with the Crystal skill and its Void EX. It's crazy, and when you get to level 120s, you unlock the healing for Void. That's also awesome. You can get more health with that. So the Assassin, perfect class up here. Any free play, I'll suggest this for you for PvE content. Then you have your Soul Dancer. Soul Dancer is definitely going to be an A tier class for PvE. You can solo some dungeons as a soul dancer. Some dungeons, the higher level dungeons, I don't know if you can solo them as a free-to-play soul dancer. It does have the healing, but the healing isn't that much. It doesn't heal that much as compared to some of the other classes that have been released in the game. It doesn't heal that much. Then it also has the damage, but most of its damage comes from its 20 seconds burst mode. It's gonna be dragging with the gunslinger for A tier right here. The fighter, surprisingly, it's gonna be an S tier. It has the mecha. The mecha has been buffed right now. Like, the health of the mecha is insane, and you can become a fighter within 7 seconds if you have the right build for the fighter. I'm gonna be dropping quite a lot of links in this video, so you guys can check out those links to help you understand how to build each of these classes, and so you will better understand what I'm talking about in this tier list. Now, the fighter deals a lot of damage currently, and it can also take a lot of damage. It has like 2 lives thanks to the mecha, and the mecha deals insane damage. Remember, this is a free-to-play stuff, and the mecha has a deep talent that unlocks for it at the higher levels, where you can gain health every time you get into the mecha. So that's healing for it. The problem is it's a close range attacker, so it's gonna be on the lower end of the S tier or a mid S tier class. Reaper is definitely an S tier class for dungeons, for 1v1 and group PvE. It is great. It has the survivability. The 4 seconds undo damage that it has is insane. It has the mobility. Problem is it has to stop to attack sometimes, but the ability to switch places with clone, you can keep your distance from monsters, you can undo damage. Also, it's a class that can survive almost any one-hit kill skill. As long as you have the set that helps you with immunity there, you are good to go in almost every dungeon with the Reaper. Once you take the damage, undo it. Just have a nice rotation. Reaper will help you there. It has a boss damage, so it can compete with the fighter in DPS. I don't think it can compete with the assassin, but it can compete with the fighter. Next is the puppeteer. The puppeteer is definitely a B tier class. It's not as tanky as the Blade Master if they are all the same rating. It's not as tanky as the Blade Master, but what puts it above the Blade Master is it does have the CC that can push some monsters back. I don't think it affects boss monsters, and those are just the mainly 2 good things. It could be in an S tier, but because it's a long range attacking class, it goes to a B tier class. Next we have the Phantom Sound. Phantom Sound is a straight up S tier class. It heals more than the Soul Dancer. It gives buff as well. It can give you super ammo. It can attack from long range. It has a higher damage than the Soul Dancer. It has control abilities that are insanely good in PvE and PvP, but we'll talk about that later. It has 2 lives if you use it properly. I made a video about that. I'll drop that down there in the comment section. I've made about 3 videos for this class alone, the Phantom Sound, so yeah. So definitely the Phantom Sound is going to be somewhere right here next to the Assassin. Next will be the Skateboarder. The Skateboarder is going to be a B tier right here. It has the high damage, but the thing that makes it a B tier is it's a close range attacker. Also, it doesn't really have a second life or most immunity like the fighter has, and that's one main thing that puts the fighter right up there. I'll just put it right here. It's going to be a little above the puppeteer because of its damage. The illusionist is definitely gonna be all the way right here, more than the Reaper, but not more than the fighter, because it doesn't really have any survivability. That's the problem with it. This damage is insanely high. It's crazy high damage, but it doesn't really buff the teammates. It doesn't really do any of that useful stuff, but it just damages. Also, the crowd control ability it has, it's crazy good. It has the fastest attack in game, currently even faster than the Soul Dancer. If you fought this class, you will know it attacks like a machine gun. So yeah, it stays up here, dealing a lot of damage. It's a long distance attacker, so it doesn't really have the weak points that the Skateboarder has. And yeah, it would have been a little more higher, but the problem is the cage skill it has can't actually trap monsters. So yeah, it's just all the way down here. Next is the Floramancer. The Floramancer is also an S tier class. It can't pass the Reaper, mainly because it doesn't have survivability. So if you try to use the Floramancer to complete dungeons, you gotta be careful with that. It can get one shot quite easily, but its damage is insanely high, and it also has some nice crowd control skills with the flowers and stuff. But yeah, no survivability, and we're talking about this from a free-to-play perspective. You are going to die a lot if you use this class and you're not skilled enough at using it. So because we are not talking about skill, you're gonna stay right here. Finally, we have the Visioneer. The Visioneer is all the way over here. Why did I put it above the why did I put it above the fighter? It's because its damage, it's OP. It's seriously OP right now. Its damage is insanely high. If not for the damage, it probably will be a little lower than this, but because its damage is insanely high, it's right here. Also, it has a better crowd control skill than the illusionist, so it's gonna be, yeah. The problem is it doesn't really have any healing, it doesn't have any shield, so you're right open there, so it can't surpass the assassin. And without healing and buffs for teammates and stuff, you can't surpass the Phantom Sound. So it's a great S tier class for everyone in PvE. The good thing about it is with its damage, you don't really need to worry about dying sometimes, because what's the point about worrying of dying when you've killed your opponent? So that's it for PvE, 1v1 PvE and group PvE. Please guys, please keep an open mind here. Remove the thoughts from your mind about your favorite classes and look at it from a free-to-play perspective if you can, because I know a lot of players are whales. The Blade Master is gonna be an A tier, definitely an A tier. It has received quite some buffs recently, so you think it's gonna go S tier, but the problem is a close range attacker that's in a game that is dominated by long range classes. It doesn't really have any healing. It does have deflect and void skill and Oberon and all those other EXs that can help it reduce damage, but the damage dealt by most of these classes is quite insane. And the problem is the survivability that the Blade Master has, or boast of having, isn't really that great compared to some of the other classes in this game. Currently they do have a lot more survivability. Definitely could be a lower tier of S, but I'll keep it at the upper A tier right now. Next is the Gunslinger. Gunslinger is definitely a mid A tier. It isn't higher than the Blade Master. You'll be wondering why, because the Gunslinger deals a lot of damage and it's a long range attacker and stuff. The problem is its survivability. At the current stage of the game right now, especially in the higher levels, the Gunslinger isn't that great. The Blade, if we're talking about lower levels, the Blade Master will probably be an S tier, definitely. But for the higher levels right now, with all 12 classes unlocked, the Gunslinger survivability on quote is terrible. It's a great class, but if we're including skills, it's definitely going to be close up here. Skills is a really big boost in this game. If you have the skills to play the class, you can really make a weak class or a class that's average, you can make it quite super. Next is the Assassin. Assassin is definitely an S tier class in the game right now for PvE, 1v1 PvE. I mean, it's an Assassin. If it doesn't dominate here, then it isn't really an Assassin. Right now, the only weak point the Assassin has is the Blade Master, and that is one thing that can put the Blade Master up here again. But I'm still gonna leave it at the upper A tier. You'll see why in a couple minutes. So the Assassin is only weak against the Blade Master. Even against itself, you can defeat a fellow assassin that's 100, 200, 300, 400, 500,000 rating stronger than you. You can defeat a fellow assassin. The Soul Dancer is definitely lower A tier. I'm saying lower A tier because it does have the God mode. Yes, everybody knows that. Everyone is scared about that. But if you are guard up against that, apart from that, it doesn't really have any other redeeming features in single player PvP. Remember guys, keep in mind this is for free to play. This is, imagine everyone is the same rating, so you just can't dominate other players because you are 1 million rating or 700,000 rating stronger than them and then think Soul Dancer is a great class for 1v1. It requires a lot of skill, and we are not taking skill into account. We are taking deep talent, we're taking builds. It can heal, yes, but the healing isn't that great compared to some other classes. It doesn't really have much survivability compared to some other classes. Its strength comes from CC, and once you know that and can counter that, yeah, the Soul Dancer is pretty much dead. Next is the Fighter. The Fighter is definitely gonna be right here. And it's gonna be struggling with the Blade Master for A tier right here, but it can't surpass the Blade Master. Remember I said the Blade Master is kind of an S tier class, but the Fighter is pretty good in the sense that the mecha has been buffed and it can do a lot of damage. It can pass through most CC because it has CC immunity. So this is a pretty good class in 1v1s. Why I put it in A tier? Why am I putting it in A tier? It's, you know what, S tier. In 1v1s on the same rating, the Fighter, it deserves to be an S tier class, although it will probably be a lower S tier class, but it deserves to be an S tier class. It has the damage, not as high as the Assassin, but it does have the damage. It has the immunity, and it does have the survivability. It's an insanely good class. So the only problem with it is once you get into the mecha state, players will run away from you and you are slow in the mecha state, so wise players will not receive much damage from you. But that is talking about skills, right? The Reaper, Reaper is definitely right up here. Now, I'm gonna grab the Reaper and just bring it right here to the Assassin. Why I did this is because the Reaper and the Assassin can pretty much defeat the fighter quite easily. Yes, you wonder every 8 seconds, yes, this heals, but this has the ability to undo every damage it receives. It has clones, it has invisibility that can ignore the robot stage. Same thing with the assassin has the immunity, it has the healings, it has the damage. So yeah, they are a lot stronger than the fighter if everyone is the same rating. The puppeteer is gonna go all the way right here. It's gonna be an A tier class. Why it is lower? You know what? It's kind of be a lot more than the gunslinger, but I don't know, man. Can be a lot more than gunslinger, mainly because it has the bleed, so it's gonna be a lot more than the gunslinger. It could be competing with this blade master class right here, but we're not talking about skills. We're talking about the abilities and talents. It doesn't have shields, it doesn't have healing. It only has the ability to buff its defense, so it is highly based on stats. That is why when Wales use the puppeteer, you see it as an insanely good class. But when free-to-plays use the puppeteer, you probably will die a lot. Next is the Phantom Sound. The Phantom Sound is gonna be all the way right here. Yeah, it's gonna be right here. Surprisingly enough, the Phantom Sound is gonna be right here. So the Phantom Sound has the healing, highest healing in the game. It has AoE damage, one of the highest AoE damages in the game. It has CC ability, one of the most annoying CC abilities in the game. Honestly, it can go all the way up to S tier, but the problem is with the recent buff and nerfs to classes, the Phantom Sound that was previously an S tier class, probably even more than most of these other ones, dropped all the way to A tier. This is one of the problems with gacha games. Pretty good class, but not that great. Now the skateboarder, honestly, I'm so tempted to drop this. Bruh. But I'm sure some people are gonna kill me for this. Also, I'll just drop it all the way right here. That's the skateboarder. Definitely struggling with this. I would say the Soul Dancer is kind of a little better than it sometimes, but because it does have the shield, I'm gonna keep it right here. If you can use that properly, definitely it's a pretty good class. It does have the damage. It has the super ammo that's immune. It can be immune to almost anything. It has the long range attack state that deals an insane amount of damage as well. So it is competing with the gunslinger going all the way right here. But the healing it has is minuscule. So that's one thing there. The problem is it's just the same problem the Blade Master has. It's a close range attacking class. The survivability it has isn't that great. If the player you are facing is the same level, you have like a 70% chance of dying as a skateboarder if you're facing the same level opponent. Next is the Illusionist. The Illusionist is definitely gonna be right up here. I'll definitely say it is kind of better than the fighter, but mainly the fighter is giving it a work for its money because it has the mecha. The mecha is kind of OP for the fighter, and also the damage isn't as high as the Illusionist, but the Illusionist cannot stun the fighter. It cannot trap the fighter, and that is one of the most annoying ability the Illusionist has, which is the cage skill. But the fighter just walks through the cage skill. So yeah, I don't really know. It's gonna be at the S tier right here. If everyone is the same rating and stuff, then the fighter does have quite a high chance of defeating the Illusionist. Then for Floramancer definitely right here is gonna be struggling with the Illusionist. The problem is it doesn't really have any survivability, so it can't go any higher than here. But it is a pretty good class in its damage. Its damage is insane. It does have the damage. It has the stuns. It has the what do you call it? Poison. It has poison. So it can go all the way right here because it can remove the fighter's super ammo that makes it invulnerable. But the problem again is if you do not kill the fighter with that one stun combo, then you are gonna probably die. Mainly because after that stun combo, the fighter can just use its Vajra power or Onikatsu or whatever EX is using and gain super ammo again and keep attacking you. But it's a pretty good class nonetheless. And finally we have the Visionaire. The Visionaire is definitely above these players all the way right up here. It does have the high chance of pushing the fighter away from this list. And for 1v1s right now, in fact, I'm gonna remove it. Yeah, it definitely can push the fighter. The Visionaire is way stronger than the fighter. The HP that the fighter is so proud of is not really it's not really much of an obstacle to the Visionaire because it's the only class in this game that can one-shot kill other classes. Yeah, that's the Visionaire. and even the mecha state that the fighter is gonna be so proud of going into. The one skill from the Visionaire disables that. Just use the dimension wall and your robot or mecha will just be there getting pushed away from you. And even if that doesn't work, you can just teleport far away from the fighter and make the mecha kind of useless against you. I'm thinking it kind of can go up here, but it cannot surpass the Reaper, mainly because the Reaper can undo the damage this deals. But you know what? Just because this falls more on skill, I'm gonna say this one, guys, the Assassin, the Reaper, and the Visionaire are ranked number 1. They are all number 1 on the SS. Just imagine all of them being on the same spot. Because they kind of counter each other in a way that is quite unique in the game. And when any of this is fighting, it's all down. If they are the same rating right now, if they are the same rating, it's all down to skill. Right? It's all down to skill. That is it for the PvP tier list. I'm sorry guys if this is taking long. I just have to explain my point of view a lot more, and I'm sorry if this offends anyone out there. If you can also drop your opinions in the comment section, but this is what I believe the game currently looks like in 1v1 PvP. This includes battlegrounds like Day of Liberties and the rest. This includes Ladder of Honor and bumps. So yeah, let's begin. First is the Blade Master. For group PvP, definitely B tier. I'm sorry, I know some of you imagine it's gonna be A tier and stuff, but have you tried using Blade Master in Desert Roads or Tide of Gods? It is kind of better in Tide of Gods, but in Desert Roads, not that great. Have you tried using Blade Master recently in Ladder of Honor? You die mainly because of the Visionaire, the new classes that have come. I've just made the Blade Master not that strong in group PvP as before. Next is the Gunslinger. The Gunslinger is gonna be a low B tier. Don't get me wrong, in the lower levels, the Gunslinger is insanely good. That's because most of these other classes at level 70s and 90s have not unlocked at the lower levels. So next is the Assassin. Assassin is an A tier in group activities. It is insanely helpful in events like bumps. It is also good, not that great in Ladder of Honor, because yeah, it is Ladder of Honor, and most people in Ladder of Honor just use the Visionaire or the Illusionist, which kind of sucks, but yeah, it is an A tier class. The Soul Dancer is also gonna be where would I put the Soul Dancer right now? It's an A tier. Yeah, mainly because it's a group activity. Also, if you are free to play, which is exactly what we are considering right now, if you're free to play, Soul Dancer is perfect for you in group activities because you're gonna rank a lot higher for a lot less effort. Especially in battlegrounds and stuff. All you gotta do is just assist and try and heal. So you're gonna rank high. Problem is right now the Soul Dancer would have been an S tier, but it's an A tier because of the Visionaire and some of these OP classes that have been released. They really and severely limit most of the original 4 classes. If not, most of these classes, these 4 classes would be A tier or S tier straight up. Next is the Fighter. The Fighter for group activities, a B tier. Wales, please calm down. This is assuming you're free to play. You're gonna die a lot as a fighter, and you're probably not gonna deal that much damage, and you're probably gonna regret using the fighter in most events. It's gonna be a lot higher than the Gunslinger. It's not lower than the Gunslinger, but probably competing with the Blade Master for high B tier right here. The Reaper in group activity is A tier. It's kind of average right here. Not really higher than the Soul Dancer, not really lower than the Soul Dancer. Can't really help that much in bumps because you teleport up and down and you leave the circle ring. It's kind of helpful in Ladder of Honor as you won't die as fast as possible. The Puppeteer goes all the way here. It's kind of great for group activities, and as you have a bleed that can be procced on multiple players, and most people won't take note of it and probably bleed to death. And you also have your Paper Hurricane that deals a lot of damage. But the problem is, it's the Puppeteer, you don't have any shield and stuff, and this is a group activity where you take damage from everywhere. So you don't have healing, you don't have shield, you don't have the undo damage of the Reaper. You're probably gonna die, but you're also probably gonna leave. It just depends on rock sometimes. But if you are a whale, the Puppeteer can fall at S tier. Again, spending in any game can make any class OP, especially gacha games. Phantom Sound would have been an S tier in group PvPs, but it's definitely gonna be all the way down here. I don't know, man. The recent buffs it received, it doesn't really make it that great of a class anymore, but still it's probably gonna be better than Puppeteer. So the Phantom Sound is a pretty great class, A tier class. but it can't really go all the way up to S tier, mainly because of these other classes that have been released and the nerfs it's kind of received. It's not that great as before. Skateboarder is gonna be all the way down here. It's gonna be all the way down here for group activities. Yeah. Unless you want tower captures. For tower captures, then this can go all the way to A tier. But for this ladder of honors and stuff, I don't think you should even bother using the skateboarder because of the shields and the damage it has. That's why it's right here. Next, we have the illusionist. Illusionist is definitely our first S tier class. It has the high damage and it has the storms. Those two, that's just to tell you how high up those two things are for this class. That's one reason why it's all the way up here. And if you want proof of how good this class is for group activities, just go into a single battlegrounds in the higher levels, and trust me, you definitely see at least half of the players will probably be using illusionist. Florimancer is definitely going to be a B tier class here, all the way right here. For free to play, I don't think this class is that great for you in group activities. It doesn't have any shield, it doesn't really have any survivability. You're gonna die a lot compared to most of these other classes. You're gonna die a lot. The Florimancer is not really gonna shine if you are free to play, as you're gonna get killed a lot. The Visioneer is definitely our second ranked S tier, competing with the Illusionist. It probably can't even be above before the Illusionist, just because of the damage it deals. With the Visioneer, you can just forgo surviving and just deal insane damages, steal kills, one-shot kill most opponents, and rank high. That's the Visioneer. You can just rank high with the Visioneer, dealing a lot of damage. Even lower ranked players can kill higher ranked players. Alright, finally we have the free-to-play friendly classes. This has been a long video, my voice is almost gone. Alright, we'll start with the Blade Master. The Blade Master is gonna be a B tier right here, because it isn't really free to play friendly. You need to be a whale most times to use the Blade Master effectively. It is just right here. It's a B tier, high B tier class. Not that great considering free to play and considering whales in the game currently. The Blade Master is a B tier class for any free to play player. You want to use the Blade Master, you need the stats for it, or you're gonna die a lot. The Gunslinger is gonna be a lower A tier. You're gonna wonder why I say it's A tier right here. It's because of the damage it has and the invisibility skill it has. Normally, without those two, it's definitely gonna drop straight to B tier. And recently, I don't really know. Maybe it's because the players I attacked were like 2 million ratings stronger than I was, but the damage I dealt with the Gunslinger wasn't that great as I expected it to be. But yeah, it's an A tier class for damage, especially for lower levels, free to play. Gunslinger is great for you, Blade Master is great for you at lower levels, but after the level 90s and going to the level 120s, when most classes have unlocked their actual useful deep talents, the Gunslinger kind of falls off for free to play. I won't suggest you use this for most events, so I think that might bring the Gunslinger all the way down to B tier class. I think that will bring it to B tier class. Assassin is definitely an S tier class, great for PvE, great for PvP. It can help you in single player battles, it can help you in group activities, in group PvP. It is great for everything. It has the survivability. It is awesome. It can like surpass ratings. The problem is it is weak to the Blade Master. That is the only class in this game right now that the Assassin is truly weak against. But if you have skill, you can counter all of that. But we're not taking skill into consideration. We are taking the deep talents and everything. If we're taking skill into consideration, every single class will probably be S tier right here. I think I should drag the Gunslinger mainly because it is great for PvE and stuff. I think yeah, it should be in A tier. Because of the PvE part, it surpasses the Blade Master in PvE. So I think it should be A tier right here. We're just going to drop it at A tier. Not really high A tier, but lower A tier, because most of the other classes deal more damage than the Gunslinger in PvE. Mainly because this one's damage is focused in single targets, and they need to be super close to each other for its attacks to work, while the others have AoE and stuff that are a lot more useful. Soul Dancer has always been helpful since the start of the game till now. It has been helpful for free to play players and no matter what, group activities or single player activities, the Soul Dancer is always there for you. It has your back. I'm really losing my voice. Next is the Fighter. Fighter is definitely an A tier class for free to play. Why it's higher than the Soul Dancer is because of the mech truly, without the mech, the fighter is kind of useless. No offense, but it has the mech, it has the super armor. The mech gives it 2 lives and healing. So for PvE activities, fighter is great. It has the damage, which is more than the Soul Dancers, except when the Soul Dancer is in its 20 seconds God mode, but that is only 20 seconds. And after that, you gotta wait about 2 minutes. But this one, about every 8 seconds, you can go into your mech, which is insane. Next is the Reaper. Reaper is definitely an S tier class, competing with the Assassin right here. But the Assassin surpasses it because it is great for PvE activities, and the survivability of the Assassin is insane. Also, it has the healing, which the Reaper doesn't have, which is one big fall off. It also has the immunity, which the Reaper doesn't have, but the Reaper has the 4 seconds undo damage skill, which can help you survive any one-shot boss skill. So it is great. It's gonna be an S tier right here. The damage burst it has is great, but doesn't compare to the Assassin. But it is kind of better than some of these other classes down here. Puppeteer is gonna be all the way in B tier right here. It doesn't really deal that much damage for free-to-play players. It doesn't have the shield that some of the other classes has. It doesn't really have the mobility some of the other classes have. It does have the long range attack, which kind of can put it right here a little more. It also have the blades, which can be quite helpful as well. But yeah, the Puppeteer, I would really suggest you focus on it if you are free to play, unless you've got the skills. But this tier list is not taking skills into account. Now the Phantom Sound is definitely gonna be right here. It's gonna be yeah, it's kind of, you know what, it's gonna be a little more than these other ones. I mean, why it surpasses the Soul Dancer is because of the healing. Its healing is greater than the Soul Dancer's. Its buff is kind of a lot great as well. But I don't know, the Soul Dancer does buffs too. But I mean, come on, this gives every single person in your team or close to you super armor. It also increases most of your CDR, which is insane. So it's gonna be A tier. It does a lot of damage. It has shield. It has 2 lives, kind of like the fighter. But yeah, it still feels a little squishy. Even with all of this, it still feels a little squishy. So it's great for free to play. If you want to go dungeons and stuff, you can definitely carry this. If you are going for group activities, you can definitely carry this. If you're going for group PvP, you can also try this. It is kind of good DS still. So it is kind of a good all-round class, just an average class to be honest. Skateboarder goes all the way down here with the Blade Master. If you're not a whale, if you do not spend, the skateboarder's true potential isn't really brought out. The illusionist is gonna be all the way right here. Come on, okay. Right away at the upper A tier. Why isn't it an S tier? You know what? The illusionist can be. Screw it, the illusionist can be an S tier, a lower S tier. Yeah. Why I say the lower S tier, and then this is kind of controversial in a way, a lot of players are gonna be surprised, is because you need money for this class. Bruh. S tier for free to play, to have that damage and all those caging and CC abilities, that's what plays in the S tier. The freezing and everything. Although the cage doesn't work on monsters. Floramancer is gonna be all the way right here. For free to play, friendly class. You know what? I was thinking, because it doesn't have any shield and stuff, it goes all the way down here with the Puppeteer for free to play friendly. For 1v1 it is great, don't get me wrong, but if you're fighting a higher rating player, if you do not win with that your stun combo, you're pretty much dead. You do not have any healing, you do not have shields. The teleportation and invisibility is kind of predictable, and an illusionist can just cage you and kill you. So you're gonna die a lot in group content. It's just a lot of drawbacks for free players to use the Floramancer in this game right now. There's a lot of drawbacks, so yeah, it's gonna be a B tier right here. And finally we have the Visionaire. The Visionaire is going to be all the way up there as S tier, mainly because of its damage and stun ability. The stun ability works against monsters, so it does work better than the illusionist, so it can kind of be right here. The problem is it doesn't have any survivability, which the illusionist also doesn't have. That's that, but hey, the damage is insane. All you gotta do is, for most monsters, is use your suppression skill about 2 times and they are dead. So that's it for free-to-play friendly classes. These are your 2 main free-to-play friendly classes in the game right now. If you are competitive, you want to use these 2 classes definitely. If you are PvE oriented, or you are one of those players that like supporting others, then you're gonna want to use the Phantom Sounds or the Soul Dancers. These are two of your best supports in the game. But if we're including skill, the assassin and this class are still gonna take the top position because they are classes that require skill. So anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. That is it for my tier list. If you have any questions, comments, suggestions, or requests, please drop them down there in the comment section. I read all of them. I will respond to you if needed or make a video if necessary. And I am sorry again if this tier list offends anyone out there. This is just me looking at things objectively and trying to give you guys the best I can in this game. Alright, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and please don't forget to leave a like. And as always, have a lovely day. Take care, guys.